right, thank you. So I know that I'm going to talk a little bit about preparing for year end. I know some of this is your busy time, so your bookkeeping is like off into the to the abyss right now because of your recitals and stuff. So I just wanted to give you a few points on things to make sure you do. They're not very hard to do to prep to make it year end good. A lot of the stuff you have to do before 12/31, because once you wait until January, you've lost your opportunity. So I just wanted you to be aware. One thing, one of the slides that Tiffany had with all that concession and tights and all those fun things you can add on at the last second, all of that was taxable for sales tax, just FYI. The only thing that's not taxable for most states is water. So pop, hot dogs, chips, all taxable. Just letting you know. Sometimes you forget because you're just buying it from Sam's Club and you're, taking it, but because you're making a profit on it, it's taxable.
So we sell it for the amount we're selling it for and add tax?
Yep.
But you have to file it like as the...
It's just gonna be included with your other sales tax, so it is taxable. It's that little forgotten little piece, but it is taxable. So I know.
You don't pay tax whenever you check out because it's food, so then it's not one of those like things where
But
you have to
food
file
consumed on site is taxable. Do you ever notice when you go to a restaurant and they charge you sales tax if you're eating in? That's why they say eating in or eating out. Eating out's not taxable, eating in is taxable.
Well, like the conditionable ones where you paid tax on something previously and then you resell it and you have to take it out and all that.
Yeah, they don't care that you've already paid sales tax. The state's like, I don't care. Go ahead.
Is it different for different states?
Every single state is completely, most though, food is taxable if it's consumed on site. I would say like 90%. So but like you guys, some of you guys know that certain states, clothing is not taxable, but accessories are. So like, you need to know your state, because there are a couple strange ones out there, but for the most part, food consumed on site is taxable, bow ties are taxable, accessories taxable. Go ahead.
So if we get that tax exempt form, like when we're buying the costumes and that,
Yep.
could we use that like at Sam's Club if we were
Yep.
buying food?
Yep, Sam's Club, Walmart, GFS, they're all used to it.
How do you get one of those forms, like what qualifies you to?
You have to have a sales tax vendor's license, or they call it reseller's permit. That's another thing. The verbiage changed from state to state. But once you have a vendor's license, all you gotta do is Google blanket tax exemption form and then put your state at the end, and it'll pop right up. And you just fill out one, photocopy it, and you just have them to hand out to anyone whom you are going to, if you're gonna resell something, you don't wanna pay sales tax on it, because that eats out of your profit.
You don't need a number,
You have to have a vendor's license.
they'll give you a resale certificate. I have a resale certificate, I just got one. But
Yeah.
do I have a copy of that with it, or do they just?
Nope, it'll ask for your reseller's number.
Oh, gotcha.
So you'd be like,
Just fill it out.
legal business name, address, resellers, and then why you think you're not to be charged sales tax. I'm reselling. Nonprofits don't be charged sales tax, so,
Got it.
yeah, go ahead.
So we've done that, we do it with Revolution, like my online stuff for Amazon,
Yeah.
but this is silly, but, so when I go to Walmart and buy stuff, do I show them that every time, or how does that work?
Walmart can be a pain in the butt, because you probably would have to go up to their service department.
Okay.
It's, the regular cashier's probably not gonna be very familiar with it. So Walmart's a little bit hassly. So if you can buy things, I know Amazon, if you have a business, account, you don't have to pay sales tax, you just would have to submit that. So, GFS though, I know for sure is like super easy, because they're used to building businesses. So Walmart's not majority business, so. I guess if you pad your numbers good enough, you can absorb that initial sales tax and not have to worry about, like, what's your time limit, I don't know. Okay, so if we don't have any more questions about sales tax, I wanna jump into, getting ready for year end. So obviously the first thing is catching up on your bookkeeping. I'm just gonna go ahead and say that. I know because your recitals are coming up, it's gonna be a little priority. If you get ahead of it now, you can't hear me? Okay. Sorry. I thought it was loud. All right. So yeah, get your bookkeeping caught up through 12/31 as fast as possible. So if you get at least caught up through this October 31st now, we're only doing 1 month at a time, and then come January, you're good. You don't have to worry about it. It doesn't have to be that monster hanging over you waiting to drop on you. The next thing is, if you already don't have a CPA, now is the time to secure one. If you wait till January, you will have a very hard time finding a CPA. So, it technically is their busy season, and finding a bookkeeper is even harder too, because I will speak from our experience. January, February, and March are when I get my most clients of the year. So, now is the time to think about it, not when taxes are due. I know it's common sense, but I know how human brains work and small business owners' brains work. We have to put things behind us that we don't want to deal with right now, because you have to deal with what's right in front of you. Okay, so say you have someone doing your books, you're doing your own books. Here's some reports to check to make sure things are accurate. I've talked to a few of you, and I think it's not necessarily common knowledge that your CPA, for the most part, will be assuming that you and your bookkeeper are doing a great job, and then you and your bookkeeper are going to assume that your CPA is checking your work when they're not. I have run into many times where the CPA just took whatever was handed to them and filed the taxes. It's scary. Yeah, it's scary. So everyone's assuming the other person's doing it, and so you're ultimately responsible because you're the owner of the business. So here's some reports. If you're using, most of you are probably using QuickBooks. So the first one you want to look at is P&L detail. That's going to show you every income and expense account with everything that would be on your regular P&L with all the actual transactions under it. So that would say, oh, I see Chipotle and automotive. That doesn't go there. You can click it, change it, and then save and close. That way you're just glancing at it and making sure that everything makes sense. If you sort by name, it's even easier to read because it puts all your vendors together. So your eyes can just glance through really quick. The big one is your balance sheet. That's the scary report that no one likes to look at. It has your assets, your liabilities, and then your equity. What I see a lot when I inherit a new client is expenses going onto the balance sheet. When an expense goes onto your balance sheet, it is not on your P&L and therefore did not get claimed on a tax return. I had somebody with over $30,000 of employer payroll taxes put to payroll liabilities on accident. CPA did not catch it. No one caught it. So $30,000 of expenses that never got claimed. And obviously that was multiple years. He's not a giant studio, but $30,000 is a lot of money. So his CPA has to go back and refile those years. It happens more often than you think. If you had an asset called office equipment and all your office supplies went into there on accident because someone just typed office and really quick, there's all your expenses onto the balance sheet and not in your P&L. So that's an easy one, an easy mistake that a lot of people make. If you use QuickBooks Online, they like to put things in uncategorized asset and uncategorized. Look for the word uncategorized. If you see that, fix it. That's a bad sign. QuickBooks Online likes to have a mind of its own. Make sure all of your accounts are reconciled. So if you have someone doing your bookkeeping, make sure they're actually reconciling and not just letting QuickBooks download whatever it wants to, that you're actually balancing it. There's a feature in QuickBooks, it's free, you might as well use it. Also, make sure there isn't transactions hanging out in your reconcile screen. So even if it is reconciled, there still could be stuff that never got reconciled on the reconcile screen, and that still is reporting to your P&L. So it could be lots of mistakes, but it's still in there, so it needs to be deleted if it's not real. I know I'm talking fast, I only got 5 minutes, so I'm trying to cram it all in. You guys can obviously talk to us out here. Don't forget, as of 12/31, to take your inventory. You need to claim how much inventory you did not sell. And that's at purchase price, not retail price. So that goes on your balance sheet as an inventory asset. You cannot expense it. So if you have a lot of inventory, you might want to do that every so often so you're not getting, your P&L doesn't change by like a lot at the end of the year. So you might want to do that throughout the year if you can. Okay, so those of you who have employees in payroll, you're going to want to make sure your W-2, your addresses for your employees are accurate. You don't want to send out that W-2 and then it goes missing and then you have to go through all that rigmarole to find it and give it to the person. Also, expect a new unemployment rate from your state. Now is the time they send it. Your payroll company, whoever's doing your payroll, is going to need that percentage because it affects next year. And if you don't turn it into your payroll company, they'll end up paying the wrong amount, and there could result in a fine. So look for the letter. They'll either continue your same rate or go up or down, depending on the economy of your
Isn't the
state.
payroll company supposed to know?
Nope, they send it to your address, your state sends it to you, and then you have to give it to them.
And I would have thought that they wouldn't know. Okay.
Well, how would they know?
Different.
Oh, I think my payroll company has offices in my state, so I guess I just assume, but that's true, I mean,
Yeah.
I just never would have thought.
So as you already know, you are the most responsible person for you, and the state, even the state and the IRS are gonna come to you, not your payroll company.
True.
All right, W-9s. Do not wait for the end of the year to ask your subcontractors for W-9s. And do not wait for them to earn $600 to then ask for the W-9. You always, before you pay a subcontractor, you get the W-9. Because when it's time, you have until January 31st to send out their 1099. You will not hear from some people. They will just drop off the face of the earth, and then you cannot send them a 1099. So, happens to me all the time. We do 1099s for our clients, so there's a mad scramble. I even have people, I just had someone for 2018 have me send out their 1099s. Not even joking, not even joking. So it's one part of my job that isn't the funnest, but I have to trace down people, and then literally people are like, well, I will never talk to you again because I don't want to be reported to the IRS. So you don't want to work with anyone who doesn't want that. And then last but not least, now is the time to goal set for 2020. Write down, as you think of things, write it down, because you will forget, because if you're going into your holiday recitals, and before we know it, your spring recital is going to be here, and then we're back to November. The life goes by really quick. So write down things as you think about things. There's a really neat feature in QuickBooks called Budget versus Actual Report. You can put your goals in there, and then there's a really easy little report you just run, and it shows you your goals versus how you really did. And you can tweak it as you go. It's really nice, and it takes maybe 10 minutes to put your budget in there. And you can even base it off last year. You can just import the data and then move on to 2020. So those are a few things. We do have a free Facebook group. You guys can join and ask questions, because I know there's always the unique question that, oh, I forgot to say that, or this new thing popped up, or this is not normal. That is a safe space. It's a private group. Only business owners are in it, and us, and you can just ask questions. So, and then we'll obviously be out here when you need us, and that's it.
What's the name of the group?
If you go, in Facebook, if you search under the groups, just type in gymbookkeeping.co. Gymbookkeeping.co. .co. Yep. Thank you.
All right, thanks.